What's good, friends? Rob here with our Pelton One, along with Tiki Dude, of course. I just got back from a hiking trip. I went to Arizona, to the Grand Canyon, and I hiked from one rim, down and across and up to the other rim, and then down and across back to the original rim. They call that the rim to rim to rim. What did I take with me? What worked really well? What didn't work very well? What do I wish I would have brought? What do I wish I wouldn't have brought? Stick around and I'll tell you all about it. First things first, I went on this trip with 3 other backpackers. I went with Jeremy, trail name Almost for Midwest Backpacker. I went with Brad, trail name Miyagi, with Miyagi and Trips on the Trail. And I went with Chuck, trail name Mule, all to the Grand Canyon. So the 4 of us together was a recipe for hilarity and adventure times 2. So to you guys, if you're watching this, thank you so much for putting up with me and all my shenanigans, because I put up with your crap as well. So let's dive into the gear list and let's see exactly what I brought, okay? A few things right off the bat. I ended up packing a pump sack. This is it's a sack that you trap air, and it helps you inflate your air pad and helps you inflate different things. I brought this, but I didn't end up bringing it on trail. I actually used Jeremy's from Midwest Backpacker. So thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for packing this for me and letting me use it. Secondly, I was in a tent for this trip because it's the Grand Canyon. There's like 4 trees there, right? The footprint for my hammock, the footprint for my tent, I did not bring. I brought it with me, just left it in the car, did not use this. Last thing I brought with me, and I didn't take, were my tent stakes. Did I do that on purpose? No, I actually left them in my suitcase. So I went to the whole trip with no tent stakes. I was able to borrow some, find some, but if you're gonna go to the Grand Canyon and hike and camp there, I do suggest these titanium shepherd hooks. It's very packed soil. You want something with very small surface area to really dig through that really hard pack. And then if you have to, put a rock on top of it to make sure it's secure. But these would have been awesome and perfect if I would have actually brought these. Right in my pocket, I kept the mask. There are times when you're down in the Phantom Ranch and the different campsites where you're in and around people. So I did have a mask with me that I wore when I was in close proximity. When you're passing people on trail, there's enough room to keep the 6 foot of distance, but when I was gonna be close to someone, I did have my mask and I used it all the time. So even though you're in the Grand Canyon, masks are still required. Let's start with what was on my body. I went with the Ultra Timp 2. These were awesome. Comfortable, great traction. Our feet did get wet. I wish these drained as well as the Lone Peaks, but I wish these would have drained as well as the Lone Peaks do, but they don't. But the shoe's been awesome. That extra stack height on that packed surface worked really, really well. For socks, of course, gotta go with the darn Tufts. I brought 2 pair of socks and I just basically swapped them out every day. So a pair of socks with me on the trail. I also used Ultra's gaiters. That's just to help prevent any rocks and pebbles and sand and little debris from getting inside my shoe. These worked really well. I got nothing in my shoes. So these were on me, with me the whole time. Continuing on up, for underwear, I wore the Ex Officio Sport Mesh Boxers. These are fantastic. No blisters. They do keep the smell down because of what they're made of, but I'll tell you something. These are all the clothes that I wore, and I have not washed these yet, and they are rank, man. Anyway, Ex Officio Boxers. I ended up wearing tights. It was hot down on the bottom of the canyon, like close to 80 degrees. But I like the compression and I like the protection that long tights offer me. So I use these. These are just like Walmart compression tights. Over that, a pair of Target running shorts. These have the liner in them. I don't mind the liner. If I wanted to, I could cut them out. I don't really care, but these work great. Smart Wool Tech 150 shirt. This is the only shirt I brought. Over that was my Merrell hoodie, little waffle print. This thing was awesome. This was on and off the whole trip. And then my hat was the Outdoor Research Swift cap. There were days where this thing was covered in salt, but this hat performed amazingly, amazingly well. I did also bring trekking poles. These are the Cascade Mountain Tech Carbon trekking poles. These are amazing trekking poles. They have not failed me in all the trips I've used, and they're like 60, 70 bucks on Amazon. Great trekking pole if you're looking at getting a pair that's very affordable, especially in the carbon. These are awesome. I'll leave a link to all this stuff down in the description below if you want to check any of that out. Let's dive into the pack, see what I got. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. I mean, the stuff that's in here is pretty self-explanatory, but right off the bat is my Gregory Optic 48. Why did I go with this pack instead of my ULA Circuit or my Zerk 40 by Mountainsmith? To be honest with you, all the packs that I own, this one's still the most comfortable. Do I wish it was a little bit bigger? Yeah, I do. We'll see if I graduate to the larger version of this, but we'll see. Right on the outside here, these are the extra things that you just kind of need. I brought gloves. These are just some Geotex windproof gloves. I use these for 10 minutes one morning. Got the poop kit. There's toilet paper in all the little restrooms and latrines, but there were times when you did need this. Brought sunglasses. I wore sunglasses for 20 minutes the whole time. Everyone else wore sunglasses. I just find that I didn't need them. I had the hat, you know, to help shield me. But the times where I did wear the sunglasses, I was thankful I had them. I brought the Enlightened Equipment Virtus jacket, Visp rain jacket. Not necessarily for rain, but just for wind protection. I did end up wearing this on the north rim where it was very windy. This shielded the wind off me. This really kept me warm when I wore it over stuff. So this jacket was fantastic. Also brought the Enlightened Equipment Coppersmith wind pants. These things, they're nothing, but they block the wind. Put these over my tights. These kept my legs warm. They packed nothing, they weigh nothing. I use these quite a bit at camp and on cold mornings starting out the hike. My merino wool buff, I use it as a face mask, and then also on the one chilly night I used it. But a buff can be used for anything, right? Had my permit. Everyone needed a permit. I was asked for my permit at one point. The ranger didn't want to see it. She just wanted to know that I had it, and I did. So you need these to camp. You need these if you're checked down in the Grand Canyon. It is a national park after all. On the side pocket here, my Be-Free water filter. This worked really, really well. I filtered it right out of Bright Angel Creek. This 1 liter size was perfect capacity. My standard cook kit, my 750 Tokes pot, and I used the BRS 3000 stove. It worked fantastically well. You know, the Go Bites, you know, spoon set, you know, all the stuff. It's all standard, my standard cook kit stuff. Awesome. In the other pocket were the tent poles for my tent. Yes, I used a tent. This is normally the stuff sack for the spreader bars and stuff for my hammock. I just repurposed it to hold tent poles this time. Also carried 2 things the whole time that I probably didn't need. I purchased a rat sack. It's like a very fine chainmail mesh with a very robust Velcro system. The purpose of this is to prevent rodents from getting to your food, because there's rodents down there, little mice and squirrels and all kinds of stuff, and they will get to your food. And literally you just put your food bag in this and hang it up somewhere. It doesn't have to be high, just somewhere where it's suspended off the ground, and they work great. We didn't need this there at all. There were places to hang. There were big protective food boxes to put your stuff in. So I really didn't need it. Second thing that I brought that I really didn't need were my Yak Trax Diamond Pros. Up on the north rim, they did get some snow and ice. I used these for 3 minutes one morning until I realized that the ice and the snow was not a problem at all. So I packed these things all the way up and down, and I didn't need them. Didn't need them at all. Hip belt pockets. I did keep some snacks in here, like little fruit gummy snacks and some trail mix. But chapstick was an absolute must. On the other side, I carried my headlamp. My headlamp was a must because there was some night hiking in the evening and also early morning. I kept a bunch of business cards because people ask me what I'm filming, and I tell them I got a YouTube channel. So yeah. And then I also carried a microfiber towel. I usually use this to wipe sweat, to wipe things down. I did not use this once this trip. amazingly. I didn't, I usually do. Let's dive into the pack. And just to let you know, this pack comes with a couple of different lid options. I went with the minimal flap with no pocket on top, so no brain, just a flap. And those are removable and interchangeable. Right up top, I kept my food bag. This, of course, is the Hilltops food bag. My food by itself weighed 6.5 pounds, and I came back with quite a bit here. So that's one thing I always try to do is eat all my food, but yeah, I came back with quite a bit. But food bag. My tent. This is the body of the tent. It's the REISL1 tent, semi-freestanding, weighs 2 pounds, and I don't roll it. I just free stuff it just like I would, you know, a sleeping bag or something like that. And then the rainfly, free stuffed again. My sleeping pad, again, I don't roll it up. I just get all the air out of it, fold it up, stuff it in the pack. This is the Nemo Tensor, regular wide, it's 25 inches wide. This thing was very, very comfortable. The tent, I slept surprisingly well in a tent. I was impressed, I'm gonna be honest with you. Big pillow. This big old Exped Deluxe thingy. Since I was sleeping on the ground, I wanted a good pillow. I brought it. Super glad I brought this. Yes, it's bigger, it's heavier than other options out there, but this was awesome. This is one piece of gear that I'm really, really glad I bought. Top quilt. I did not go with the sleeping bag. I went with the top quilt. This is a hammock gear 30 degree. It's got an ounce of overstuff. I did use pad straps on one night where it got a little bit chilly. This is where it connects, so it attaches to your pad. Didn't need it. It didn't get cold enough. But this was the perfect choice for up there. 30 degrees, worked great. Got my Diddy bag, and this is what carried all my just extra stuff. My pack straps, my like extra water bottle lids, and my thermometer, stuff like that. Repair kits, stuff like that. Diddy bag. Extra clothes. Sleep socks, merino wool, heavy REI sleep socks. These were really nice. Sleep tights. These are a little bit insulated. These are made by Realtree. Bought them at Walmart. They're fleece lined. They're fantastic. My REI heavier beanie for camp. Extra socks for the next day. My REI 850 Magma down hoodie. This thing was nice. You got to camp, things cooled down. This was nice, and it packs down really well as well. And the very last thing I have in here is a Polycro pack liner just in case it rained. There was no chance of rain there. Didn't need it, but I usually keep it in here anyway. You just never know. That's it. That's it for the pack. A couple of extra things. I use the Smart bottle, 1 liter bottles. I brought 2 of these, and I also brought the Z Rest sit pad. I did use this for a windscreen and to sit on cold benches and things like that. So that's everything I brought. I used at some point. Even my first aid kit, I used it a little bit just for some blister protection. But the things I wish I would not have carried with me on trail, obviously the yak tracks. These are very, very effective on ice, but there just wasn't any. So this was very unnecessary. Looking back, I wish I would not have brought them with me. Second is the rat sack. The concept is awesome with rodents, but with the way that the campsites are laid out, you just did not need anything like this. Great piece of gear, not needed on this trail. And the last thing that I wish I would not have brought was so much food. I brought a lot of food. I brought hot drink mix that I didn't drink, extra Mountain House meals. Here's 2 dinners. I didn't even eat these. But yeah, I just wish I would have not have brought so much food. Looking back, my loadout was just about perfect. The 2 things I wish I had, one was my windscreen for my stove. I used like my food bag and some water bottles and my sit pad to shield the wind from my stove. It didn't work great. This, yeah, it's a little heavy, it's a little bulky, but this would have been really nice at those rim campsites just to block the wind to make cooking a little bit more efficient. It packs into my cook kit perfectly. I just decided not to bring it. Kind of wish I did. The second thing that I really wish I had with me were my tent stakes. It was kind of a bummer to ask people to borrow tent stakes every single night when I had 12 of these just sitting in my luggage back in the car. Not having tent stakes was an absolute bummer. That's about it. A nearly perfect loadout for this trip. I wasn't in as good a shape as I wanted to be on this trip, but you know what? It was a little easier than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't easy. Don't get me wrong, but I'm super glad I went. Video on that's going to be coming out really, really soon. And if it has published, I'll put the link of it right up here. But I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions on any of this gear that I brought, why I did it, the reasoning, just let me know down in the comments below. I answer all the comments. And if you like these kinds of gear videos, you like adventure, trip, camping, hiking videos, subscribe right down there. Show me some love. I greatly appreciate it. But that's all I have. Get out on trail. Enjoy this big, beautiful world. I don't know. Guess we'll see you on the next one.